It may be scary stepping out on your own if you've always had a partner, but sometimes going alone is the only way to see if you have what it takes. I'm Not Much 23, and this is Gamerspereince. And in this episode, I'm actually going alone, like the intro said, and I'm going to be discussing a huge part of the PC gaming experience, which is, of course, building that gaming PC, mainly through my own. And, well, I built my current daily driver rig, and which I'm going to lay out to you right now. It has a Ryzen 9 7950X central processor, cooled by a Thermalright Peerless Assassin, has an MSI Mag B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi to put it all on. I have 4 separate Corsair Vengeance 16GB DDR5 6000 CL30 RAM modules for 64 gig total. I transplanted the 2 magnetic drives, Western Digital Caviar Blue and Caviar Black from my previous build, but I added 2 Samsung 970 EVO Plus 2TB NVMe drives, and as an output I have GeForce RTX 4070, the 12GB version. Put that all into a Fantex N3 Pro case that has a solid side, not the tempered glass. Powering it all with a Corsair RM1000X, the 2021 version, 1000 watt 80 plus gold certified power supply. And I actually have a DVD burner. Now, that is a huge step up from my previous build, which I built. I got everything from Fry's. Remember when Fry's was still in business? I got it with my tax refunds, I think like almost 10 years ago. And I remember looking at maybe getting an AM3 motherboard and processor, but Fry's was all out of those. I didn't even look at Intel because they were nowhere near my budget. Of course, I got a solid-sided case that was on sale. Looked alright, but yeah, again, solid-sided. Not nearly as big as the one I have now. I got a AH68 grenade from MSI as a motherboard. As a micro ATX and a full ATX case. Still kind of cramped for space though. And on that I put an A7700K APU. I had 16GB of DDR3, and at the end I had an RX 580 Black, the 8GB version. All on a 560 watt power supply. Yeah, I think quite a few of you builders are cringing at that. At least those that know what's up. And I will assure you, yeah, that bit me in the ass after a while. But for almost 10 years, that budget PC I threw together did everything I wanted and needed it to do. Well, that was until I played Tower Unite online on a stream with other people. I mean, I wasn't streaming. Backseat Gorilla was streaming. I was just playing with him. And it was the shooting ride in Tower Unite. I think it was pretty new at the time. Of course, I went in and I started playing. It started out fine. And then my computer shut off. It's like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, did something overheat? So I popped open the case. And that 560 watt power supply was screaming fucking hot. So yeah, that reinforced that it was a thermal shutdown by the power supply. Yeah, now you know why experienced PC builders were cringing when they heard the 560 watts and an RX 580. Because that card is power hungry. Fortunately though, I think you heard what I just built. It's a fucking tank. I should never get a thermal shutdown from the power supply. Because it is 1,000 watts. And I'm only using about 575 watts of it at most. And it's like, why get such a big power supply if you're not only going to use about half of it? Well, number one, I want room to expand if I need to. And two, power supplies tend to be the most efficient when they're operating at about half their capacity. Truth is, I just wanted a big power supply just so it wouldn't shut down from thermal overload again. But it just worked out that everything I picked only used about half of it. Which is good to be efficient, especially where I am now, and kind of an old single wide where the wiring isn't probably the best. So that's probably a good thing. I also like that I have 16 cores and 32 threads. Do I need all that for gaming? No. Do I need all that for editing this podcast? The audio? Not really. The video? Sure helps. But I actually want to 3D model a set of dice, print them out in resin, lap them, of course make a mold to give to our guests and sell as swag or, well, merchandise to y'all. That is, if you want to buy them. And those 16 cores and 32 threads are going to be really fucking handy for that. Once I actually get off my ass and do it, of course. But also, I like having all that power. It's just, I have 16 cores and 32 threads. I can multitask, especially with my 64 gigabytes of DDR5. I can definitely multitask. I can open more than one Chrome browser. Yeah, imagine that. Having more than one Chrome browser open at a time and not getting bogged down because each tab's eating up like 8 gigs of RAM. But I got 64. But, of course, I think this is going to be a short episode, but no, it wasn't all sunshine and roses. I fucked some shit up. First, I have an NVIDIA card. How's that a fuck up? I use Linux. NVIDIA drivers do not like Linux. And trust me, this is the last NVIDIA card I'm going to buy. Never had a problem with my RX 580. That's because AMD is really highly compatible with Linux. But there are the times where I turn on my computer, I don't get display, I have to go on the onboard, which is another thing I like about the 7950X, onboard graphics as a backup, which is great because I had to use that to actually turn on my computer for the first time and actually sort out the Linux drivers. But usually it was just Steam not opening up because of driver issues, and when I first built that, I had to go through installing drivers on Linux can be, well, NVIDIA drivers on Linux can be a real fucking pain in the ass. Which is why it's going to be my last fucking NVIDIA card. Another fuck up. My 4 RAM sticks are from 2 separate kits. Apparently that's a big no-no with DDR5 right now. Conventional wisdom and advice is to only have 2 sticks of DDR5. Or if you really need 4, get them all in one kit. But have you seen the price of DDR5, especially the good shit like the Corsair Vengeance? That's the only reason I didn't max out my motherboard at 128 gig. Is because it costs so fucking much. Another fuck up. I am air cooling a 7950X. Yes, it's a Peerless Assassin, which is a great cooler, and I actually picked it because I saw the results of Linus Tech Tips' test of different coolers, and liquid cooling even still makes me kind of squeamish. Because I heard of a guy at work, liquid cooling his PC, it leaked, and the water shorted the entire computer and just fucking junked it. Pumps can fail. Of course, liquid can leak even out of an all-in-one. And this way, I don't really have to worry about a pump failure or running dry. Because I think those AIOs only last like 5-10 years or so. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Third fuck up. I use Gen 3 PCIe SSDs instead of Gen 4 or Gen 5. But, okay, another case where I didn't really look that much. But what I didn't mention is I built this in 2022. I think Gen 4's coming down in price a bit, but PCIe Gen 5 SSDs are still really fucking expensive. And I still have an M.2 slot, so if I want to get a Gen 4 or Gen 5 somewhere down the road, I can. But at least I got a good power supply. Zach Tech Turf actually made a power supply tier list. I did not look at that when I got my power supply, because it did not exist at that time, I don't believe. But I did look it up here recently. It's an A+ tier. I got a good power supply at least. Even if I'm only using half of it, which is probably where it's most efficient, at least it's a good power supply. It should last me a while. And yes, I did deliberately choose a case that not only didn't have a clear side panel, because the vast majority of them are glass. And with the thermal cycling and the thermal difference between the inside of the case and the outside, it's only a matter of time. And tempered glass doesn't just break or spiderweb or shatter, it fucking crumbles. Just like auto glass. Because it's the same type of glass. And I didn't want to wake up one day and go into my office to see 1,000 little tiny fucking crumbs of sharp-ass glass on my floor. Oh, fuck, now I need to clean that shit up. I didn't want to do that. And with the clear-sided cases come the inevitable RGB LEDs. I detest RGB. I think it looks like a unicorn rainbow puked in your case. It's garish, and I hate it. I'm sure a lot of you have the opposite opinion of me. I'll address that later, but also, RGB is pretty notorious for not having a single standard. I know there's ARGB, but the better fans usually have a proprietary kit where you have to use their shit to control their RGB. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. I don't know if my motherboard has an ARGB header on it. I don't care. And oh yeah, one thing I also fucked up that I forgot to mention earlier. I put a 7950X on a B650 chipset, which a lot of you probably screaming at right now. It's like, you left so much performance and connectivity on the table. Okay, I did. But I looked through and it's connectivity that I'm really not gonna use. That's what I see the main benefit to like an X670 or an X870 chipset would be over a B650 is more USB connectivity, better PCIe for M.2s. But I'm using Gen 3 drives. And you know what? I've not had a problem. I've not had a problem with using two different kits for my RAM. I've not had a problem air cooling a 7950X. I have had problems with my 4070 and drivers. But once I get the drivers sorted, I've not had a problem with graphics. Mainly because I'm using a 1080p 60Hz TV as my monitor. And yes, it's a smart TV. Yeah, I know probably should have gotten a proper monitor, but the TV's fine with me. And with those settings, an RTX 4070 is all I need. And beyond that, I haven't, other than the B650 chipset on the motherboard, I haven't really locked myself into any of these fuck-ups. I can switch out my RAM. That's easy. I can switch out my cooler. It's not as easy, but very, very doable, very possible. I can switch out my graphics card. Of course, I don't want to right now because they're expensive as fuck. If, that is, you can get one right now. I'm not going to change the power supply because it's fine. It's doing everything I want and need it to do. And that's with this PC. It's doing everything I want and need it to do. In fact, it's probably just like leaning back. It's like, really? That's what you want me to do? Pfft, done. When are you going to give me a real fucking task? Okay, render this video. Okay, click. Done. In 40 minutes. It only took me 40 minutes. And yes, I do just put the audio and the picture and an audio spectral filter from Caden Live onto these quote-unquote videos that I put onto YouTube. It takes like maybe 30, 40 minutes at most to render. You know how long those fucking videos took on my previous computer? Hours! Yes, it would take like 1-2 hours. I don't think 40 minutes is right. I think it's more like maybe 10 or 20 at most. Yeah, I think I'm looking maybe 15, 20 minute render times versus like a couple hours. That's huge. And I have absolutely no problems running OBS and Discord to get the audio. I have absolutely no problems editing on Audacity. And I don't anticipate having many problems in Blender. Because I did try to learn Blender on my previous PC, making a hammer, and on one of the steps I think it was taking to like smooth it out or something, it froze. That's another indication that that PC at the time did not do everything I wanted and needed it to do anymore. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad I built my new PC. I actually liked having the experience of picking out the parts, waiting for them to arrive, which, of course, they didn't all arrive at the same time. No, that make way too much sense. But when they finally did arrive, being able to put them together and having the moment of anxiety of turning on is like, is this shit gonna work? Did I do everything correctly? Am I going to let out the magic smoke? Then when I got working, Dad asks, did you really doubt yourself? I said, yes. Of course, I had to use onboard graphics to configure the graphics card, because NVIDIA. Last NVIDIA card, I swear. But I know that PC building is a very huge hobby, especially among PC gamers, because, let's face it, that's who's going to be building their own PCs. Of course, there are plenty of PC gamers that don't build their PCs. And am I going to throw shade on them? Yeah, some. Why? Because you heard how much I fucked up building my computer. But I still have a computer that works well. Does everything I want and need it to do for right now. Probably last me at least 10 years. At least. And I didn't do a whole lot of research going into this. In fact, I really should have done a lot more. A lot more. But I still have a great running PC. And unless you're the kind of person who cannot figure out how to change a flat tire after watching like 20, 30 videos on it, for the most part, unless you completely abuse everything, you should be fine building your own PC. And if you really don't trust yourself, I didn't. And yes, I know I had some experience from building my previous PC, but that was actually to a very tight budget. And I'm pretty sure I fucked up a few times there, especially getting a too small power supply. But it was an open box special, and I was on a fairly tight budget. But it still worked for me for almost 10 years. I mean, come on. It's not that hard. And if you do want to tell me that it is indeed that hard, you do want to tell me that RGB and fish tank cases are the shit, or that you want to tell me how I should have made everything aesthetic, or gotten this card or that card, or I should have only gotten a Ryzen 7 instead of a Ryzen 9, and especially should not be air cooling it, you can email me at gamerspereince@gmail.com. All lowercase, GamerSperince@gmail.com. Or you can send me a direct message on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Gamerspereince. We do have a Discord, Gamerspereince Podcast. There is a non-expiring invite link, and not only our pinned X post, but every one of our YouTube videos on the Gamerspereince Podcast YouTube channel. Or, if you want to financially support us, maybe help give me some money to fix my fuck-ups, or maybe help Chaos Assassin get a better gaming PC, or a better help, or actually rather, No, the money won't actually go towards that. It'll go towards getting better microphones, maybe an XLR to USB box, maybe for software licenses for better recording and editing software, fulfilling at least the postcard tier reward, gasoline, so maybe me and Chaos Assassin can record more in person together. Again, patreon.com/Gamerspereince. We have only 2 tiers. Supporter, which is $1 a month, gives you access to audio that only has the loudness normalization applied. No silence truncation, no cuts, no edits, just loudness normalization so that you can actually, hear it. You get a special role in our Discord, the supporter role, which gives you access to a special channel, couple special channels, 1 voice, 1 text, and once we actually get some paid Patreon members, which could be you, we can do special talk and stream with just you supporters, because you're supporting us with your wallet. Postcard tier is $5 a month. You get all the benefits of the supporter at $1 a month, plus once a month we will send you a postcard. Yes, a custom printed Gamerspereince postcard with a handwritten, personalized even, message from me and Chaos Assassin sent to your mailbox every month. Again, plus all the things I mentioned in the supporter. Please, we don't have a budget. Maybe more people could listen if we could, advertise, which is another thing this could go to. But I know this is probably going to be one of our much shorter episodes, but unlike Chaos Assassin, I'm not really much of a talker. I'm not much 23. This is Gamerspereince, and as always, we invite you to have your own Gamerspereince.